Welcome back to Game On as we shift focus now and look at what's been happening as far as Bafana goes out in Côte d'Ivoire at the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations. And joining me, of course, I've got the legend that is Jerry Sikhosana. Jerry, great time to be a South African football fan right now. Up against the Morocco team where abaningi bebathuile. Morocco World Cup, they did so well at the World Cup in Qatar. Here they are against South Africa, who's beaten them again not too long ago. But shock result, or was it not a shock for you?
Well, thanks, Sizwe. Back again.
Yeah, welcome back.
Yeah, really, it's just so great because you look at the team that we beat in the last 16, which is the #1 team in Africa. So that motivates and it gives a lot of shaking to the other teams to say, hey, this South Africa isn't a problem. Yeah. So I think that was something good. But umubugama results, I think the boys were hyped up because the last 2 games we played against in Morocco, we normally beat them. We beat them 2-0 and then we beat them 2-1. So I think that's the mentality la Bafana bebanayo, the approach abayimuksegu Morocco, and it did work well.
Let's talk about Hugo Broos, the planning yak, going into this game. Tactically, how did you feel his approach was?
Mamela, that was the best. But I think for me now, Uma Ubuga in national team you look at the last 6 guys, that's where you normally get the strongest of team yako. You look at Ronwen Williams, you look at Mudau, you look at Mudiba, you look at Mvala, you look at Kekana. In front of them is Mokoena.
Yeah.
All these 6 players, they play for one team.
Yeah.
And if you look at the way Sejalanga Kona Lapemuvama build up the confidence, how we play. I mean, for me now, Hugo Broos might have problems with Rulani Mokoena, as he mentioned before, but what he's got there is like he on a team, it was in terms of the build-up, the marking, and he advantage in this AFCON.
So, big game coming up later on today. South Africa up against Cape Verde. Cape Verde, hey, they've been problematic. Last 2 games we played against them in World Cup qualifiers for 2018, Basaya 2 home and away. They've looked good in this tournament. Let's talk Cape Verde. Tournament.
Remember what before Sidla, I think it's more than 5 years ago when they started saying Cape Verde. I thought maybe Emva Cape Town. Cape
Island.
But island. But no, hey, we had good results against them. But the last 4 games, I think there was 1 draw, and then we lost 2 games, 1 at home, 1 away. So we need to be cautious. We need to be cautious. It's having the confidence of beating Morocco to qualify for the quarter-final tonight. If La Bafana bangaba same mentality, same approach, and benze sure with whatever that they do it as a unit. I mean, this is what we saw against Morocco. So tonight we want to see more because this is a motivation to say these guys gave us problems in the last 2 games. How are we going to go there? And remember, there is 2 players that I'm worried about from Cape Verde.
Yeah.
Their captain, Ryan Mendes, who's so legendary, he's like a good striker.
Yeah.
Also, Bebe, I saw 1 free kick that he took against I think it was Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
When they beat Ivory Coast 4-1. So we need to be cautious on that because if Ukumbola, we considered it goal with the free kick against Mali.
Yeah.
That's why they scored the first goal. But now isn't it maybe Sizlungsil. So we need to know how to approach the game late.
I'm glad you mentioned the Mali game. Basaya 2. Since that game, we haven't conceded. Maybe against Namibia, there was a few defensive worries, but again, clean sheet. And it's been a clean sheet ever since. The problems we may have had at the back is Lungile, and is that our strongest department? Back 6. Is that our strongest department? Do we build from the back going forward?
Yeah. Look at this back 6 now that I spoke about. They all play for one team, all of them. But when we considered 2 goals in our first game, Kekana was missing, it was Sianda Kolo. And there were 2 mistakes that happened on his side, we considered. But to the next game, they roped in Ukekana, and everything was stable. We had how many games now? 3 games. Without considering. So it was a good thing.
So, Tebo Mokoena, have to talk about him in midfield. Yes, many will talk about Zwane and Siazu Zwane Shisaveld, but maybe many don't talk enough about Tebo Mokoena. Umbona kanjani yena this tournament? Is he also one of our strongest and most important players in this team?
You know what? You underrate Tebogo Mokoena and then you don't know what you're talking about, because I've never seen a player that is so passionate. You know, he's all over the field. You'll find him in defense, you'll find him in creativity. Look at our second goal there where he's got a free kick. It was him breaking. Where were the strikers? Where were the attacking players? So that's where you find and give him credit to say the boy is a workaholic. Yabona ngithanda ngendlela azikhomita ngayo. He's a quality player.
Omunye futhi bakhuluma ngayo kakhulu Evidence Mkhopa. Some might criticize early on in the tournament, but he's backed him, Hugo Broos. How do you rate your Evidence and his performances in the tournament?
Well, Evidence, I think una this thing lena you stage. Yabona the body structure. Yo emnetayo. But honestly speaking, in terms of being clever, of the ball movement, creating spaces, I'm still a little bit worried about it, because that's the area where I used to play at, and I know what expectations are needed at all. But then, well, little bit of that, if maybe can improve in terms of creativity, off the ball running, and don't play with your back behind the goalpost, because that's where you falter a bit. But let's give him a credit, because he scored a beautiful goal against Morocco. So tonight, I think confidence is corner lapho.
Yeah, now, big stage. We get through this game, if we get through this game, as South Africa, semi-finals. We haven't been to a semi-final since '98. Is it possible, is the big question. Do you see the possibility?
I'm overconfident. Honestly, if the attitude of the players is the same that they brought against Morocco, I don't see us going out of this AFCON in the quarter-final. We're going to proceed and play in the semi-final. This is my wish tonight.
Well, that's Jerry Sikhosana's wish tonight, to see South Africa, of course, get the better of Cape Verde, I mean to say, and move on to a semi-final berth. Can they do it? That is the big question. I'm sure all of South Africa will be watching here and fully behind the boys in the hope that they make it through to the semi-final. Stay with Game On. Christopher Bongo comes on, and we continue to break down the AFCON. Welcome back to Game On, and I'll tell you what, there's a debate that's been had now over the last few weeks all across the continent, with many questioning whether this is the best AFCON of all time or not. Some are like saying no, because maybe there's not as many great players as other AFCONs, but many are of the opinion yes, because there's so many surprises, so many goals, and the quality of the games has been extremely high, including the entire package as a whole. So, joining me to speak all things AFCON is Christopher Bongo, son of the soil, of course, brother here at Game On. Chris, top 5 African nations out of the competition in as early as the last 16. What does that tell you about this competition?
This is a great competition. Let's start. Forget about your ranking. For you to get at AFCON, you need to qualify.
Yes, sir.
So you go through a round of qualifiers and then you make it to the final round. So for you to be in Côte d'Ivoire, you did do your part and you qualified. After you qualified, you have to come to the tournament with a tournament management. It's not a game management, it is tournament management.
Yeah.
So it's not about the best players. It's not about the top players. It is how those players can come together to graft a result for them to continue going. So far, we had 8 teams that managed to do that. So they are not there because of their rankings. They are there because they did manage the tournament correctly and managed the knockout phase games correctly.
Now, we've already spoken South Africa, Cape Verde with Jerry Sikhosana a little bit earlier. We have to talk about the hosts. Up against the Mali side that had a great start against Bafana. Maybe weren't so great in seeing out the rest of their group matches, but bounced back in the knockout stages. We all know about Côte d'Ivoire, their struggles in the tournament. Firing a coach when they thought they were out, got them back in the tournament. How do you see this game?
A very tough game. Last weekend when we spoke about this tournament, I told you about top teams playing unit, top team playing as individual.
Yes.
What Côte d'Ivoire managed to do is to move from the ranks of having top players and they're playing as a team. And because they play as a team, they showed everybody in the continent how good they can be, because they were totally devastating when they went to their first knockout phase game. It was amazing the way they played. If they continue the same way, Côte d'Ivoire, they'll see themselves in the semi-final.
Well, have to also look at the stats here. They're quite interesting. 4 wins for Côte d'Ivoire, 1 draw.
Yeah.
So Mali has never beaten Côte d'Ivoire, which is quite an interesting stat.
And they're playing at home.
And they're playing at home, Côte d'Ivoire.
And as we've seen of the AFCON, you're talking about how great this competition has been compared to others. Just look at the stands. Almost every single game is in the capacity of over 25,000. Every single game.
We're averaging 19,000. Last I checked. I haven't checked the last 2 games or so. But 19,000 on average
And
a game.
the venue is 30,000. So if you have 19,000, the venue you see how much you are getting in the field. And the atmosphere and the dancing and the laughing. It's always great when you have the host nation continuing going.
How important was it for Côte d'Ivoire to still be in this tournament and also get through Senegal in the way they did? How important was that?
Number one, it was important for you and I, for the competition to still have the same level in the media, in the atmosphere, in everything. So it was very important when the host nation continued playing. For Côte d'Ivoire themselves, they had to be able to look back to say what we did wrong, so that we can change to do well. And if you look at the way the coach put the spine of the team, where Aurier was playing, where he puts Casey was playing, where he put Gradel was playing. So suddenly you have the spine of the team. From defense, you have an experience, midfield experience, upfront experience. And everybody was distributing the ball, and that's why they managed to get those goals against what I think is almost overzealous Senegal. They came in the tournament, nothing happened to them, winning all the games, scoring goals. Scoring the first goal against Côte d'Ivoire, they thought the game was
Almost
done.
looked too easy.
Very easy. Actually, the tournament was too easy for them.
Well, let's look at the Africa Cup of Nations now. I must just get your thoughts on one thing. So, for those of you that don't know, Hollywood Bets, who of course do cover the Hollywood Bets League here in the women's football here in South Africa, have done something special. Taken forth the best players from the league, and they are taking them on a trip through to Spain to spend some time out at Villarreal and gauge themselves against some of the best players in Europe in a great footballing nation such as Spain. Your thoughts on that initiative by Hollywood Bets and how they just keep giving back to the beautifully South African game?
I think what Hollywood Bet has understood is there is no better form in life for education than traveling. When you travel, you learn so much. You learn from the sound, you learn from the sights, you learn from the experience. So those players getting there, they will see things to be different. The food, the ears, the language, all those stuff build an individual. So this can only be good for South African football going forward with Banyana.
Certainly will be. So let's find out more about that as we learn about the departure out at the OR Tambo Airport.
We are sending 4 wonderful ladies from the Hollywood Bet Super League to Spain to train with Villarreal. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for them to showcase their skills and their talents against the world's best female footballers.
It's in a express because this is a great opportunity. I'm gonna gain a lot of experience. To be honest, it makes me feel excited and wonderful about it. Also, for the people from Hollywood Bets, I want to thank them for giving me this opportunity. I'm very excited about the experience, you see. It's a great opportunity for us to explore and learn new things from the other country, because basically what we have this side is not upgraded than what they have. So it's a great opportunity for us.
This is a great opportunity for us, for our brand to be exposed on an international scale. But more than that, it's just keeping with the endeavor of Hollywood Bets to grow football in all ranks in South Africa. Most importantly, to grow the women's game. So what we are currently doing now is taking some of our best players to see whether their level matches up with the best players in Europe. These are the ladies going to Spain.
Some of my expectations have been met because as I was watching Spanish national team, I saw that those players are very quick and physical. So when I get here, I got to experience that they are physical and they are very quick, and they're very technical good.
Oh, I thought it's going to be fun and we're going to have a great time, and also having a training session with the team. And my expectations, as I was expecting it to be, it just went, it went well. We enjoyed our training sessions, and I think the team is wonderful.
For my department, it was nice, but on the first day, it was a bit difficult for me, you know. So, but second training, third training, it got better, and I enjoyed every moment with it. So they were also trying to explain, give me advices how to work, how to do things, you know, because it differs from where I come from. So with every moment shared, it was spectacular. So I got to learn a lot of things.
I expect that a higher tempo, and the players, they play very well, and they play like 1-2s. Like in South Africa, we were more dribbler. So here they play more forward play. So I was expecting that, because in the World Cup I watch Spain national team play. So the way they play, the way they do things in the field of play. So I was expecting that. So I saw that even here when I train with the team, they more play forward play.
Once again, time flies when you're having fun. So we'd like to thank Bob Christopher Pongo for his thoughts on the Africa Cup of Nations, not forgetting Jerry Sikhosana and Shane McGregor as well. We'd like to thank you at home for taking the time to join us here on Game On. Until next week, from us and the rest of the crew that is behind the scenes, it's click, click, bang.